Supplies needed are a scratch piece of paper, a print sheet, a small styrofoam square, a foam brush, markers, pencils with a dull tip, a paper towel and a small bowl of water, paint and something to put the paint on, and a Q-tip. We are going to do some printmaking. This is different than when we print something out on a computer. This is actually the art of printmaking. And we're going to do some different styles, and we should end up with something kind of like this. And I will explain what each of these styles is as we go along. We're going to be using a combination of paint and markers to do this. With your print paper, use a ruler to divide the paper into 4 equal sections. This will be used to match up with your foam printing plate. Label each section 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the back side, go ahead and write the following. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a print plate. That is this in kind of carved piece of our styrofoam. You can go ahead and draw it freehand, meaning you draw right onto your styrofoam, or you can take a piece of scratch paper. I'm using one that is the same size as my styrofoam so that I can draw my design and then I'll be able to set it over top and trace it. Once you have a design that you like, then you're going to put it over top of your styrofoam. Now, if you need some help, your teacher may be able to tape it on there for you. The big thing to remember is that once you've got it on top of it, don't lift it off. So I'm going to go ahead and trace over my design with my dull pencil. While you're tracing, be sure to use gentle pressure. You want to make sure that your tracing goes through onto the styrofoam but does not poke through the paper. Okay, once you have your image drawn, you can lift that up and you can look underneath and you can see, or you should be able to see, that you have some indents in here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go through those indents a little bit more. One thing I want to make mention of is that we are going to be using both sides of the styrofoam, but we are only going to do the relief part, which is putting the pencil, the carving that we just did. We're only going to do that on one side, and we're going to use the other side and leave it flat for what's called a monoprint. Now, a monoprint means one. Mono means one. Unlike the relief print, which is something we can use over and over again, a monoprint means that we're going to use one time, we're going to put some paint on there, make a design, and then we're going to press it down, and then all the paint is gone. We cannot reuse it. So for this, first we want to make sure and put our clean paper off to the side, have our scratch paper or dirty page here, because this is going to be kind of our inking surface. And I've got my sponge brush and my paint. And what I want to do on the side that does not have the heart, now you may be able to see some of your design through the other side. It should not be poking through. If it is poking through, this print may not come off without some indentations, but we can try it anyway and see what happens. Okay, so you're going to get some paint on your brush, and you're going to kind of just lightly brush it across. You're going to use your Q-tip, and this doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to even draw a design or anything. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some lines and shapes. So I'm going to start off, I'm just going to kind of make a wiggly line across the middle, and if you notice, is kind of picking up that paint, kind of scraping it off. And you just kind of continue with that on your plate. Remember, this is our printing plate. And you're going to kind of continue with that until you have a design that you like and you're ready to print. To make our print, so you're going to kind of set aside your inking station, especially if it's got a lot of paint on it. So you really want to try and just keep this paper, your print paper, as clean as possible, except for the print you make. So again, this is our print one, and we're going to do it in this square, the upper left-hand corner, and I am going to just flip it over and press it down. Once it's down, you cannot move it. You don't want to move it because it will not print. And I kind of use my fingertips and I press. I use the soft part or palm of my hand. And you just kind of want to press until you feel like all the paint is on there. One of my favorite things I like to do is take a marker and I like to just push it down and press. And I feel like it just helps distribute that paint. And then I kind of switch fingers because you always want to make sure you hold one side down and press the other. And once you feel like you've got a good impression, then you're going to lift up your plate and it should look something like the design you just made. Now, if you look at your plate, you can pretty much tell it's gone. One print, Monoprint. Since we have the paint out, we're going to go ahead and do our relief print. That means we're going to use the image that we scratched into the styrofoam, and we're going to put that in box 3. And I'm just doing that so I can keep the things that are painted on this side and the things that are marker on this side, because I have to use some water to react with the markers. Okay, so for our relief print, we're once again going to set our print paper aside and grab our scratch paper or our inking paper. Mine's actually pretty clean so far, but this is if we have to get paint on any surface, this is what we want it on, besides what we're actually painting. Okay, so we're going to take our image, and again, we're going to get paint on our brush, lightly drag the paint across. Once you're done printing your relief plate, set your inking paper aside and put your print paper in front of you. The same process, you're going to line it up, going to set it on top, and then when you're ready, you push it down. Don't lift it back up once it touches the paper. If you notice, all the areas that we had scratched out are showing up white, and then all of the raised part is black. Use a wet paper towel, or if you have baby wipes, to clean both sides of your print plate, both the relief side and the flat side. So we're going to do a monoprint with marker. And this is using the smooth side, so not the side we scratched, but the smooth side. And I did one earlier that I just, for a monoprint, again, this means one. So it's a one-time print. The image can't be reused. So what I did was I had drawn a tree and a sun with some birds on the back of my paper. No scratches, nothing, just marker. I did the same thing with the flag. Now with the flag, I had to do this in reverse in order to make sure that I had the flag pointing the right way. On the smooth side of your printing plate, you're going to go ahead and use your markers and draw a design. As you can see, I am drawing a rainbow. Set aside my dirty sheet, bring back my clean print sheet, and this is going to go in box number 2, or the upper right hand corner. Before we do that, this is where we need our wet paper towel. So again, it needs to be wet, but not dripping water. If you have paint on your paper towel, you might need to get a new one. In that box, I'm going to go over it and just kind of lightly. Your paper should start to get kind of a shine to it, and that's good because it shows that it's wet. So once you think that the entire area of box number 2 has enough water in it, then you need to do this quickly because you don't want it to dry. What it's doing is that the water is activating with these markers. So you're going to take your printing plate and you're going to set it in box 2 over where you just wet, and you're going to press it down, and again we're going to do the same type of thing. Okay, and when you feel like you've got a good print, you're going to lift it up, and if you notice I didn't get all of that, it probably was not wet enough here. I don't think I am going to try to put it back down because it's really hard once you make a print. But just take note that that's why you want to make sure that all areas are covered that fit your plate so that it leaves a good impression. This is our last print. This is our relief marker print. So we already did one with paint using our scratched in or relief image. This is my favorite. For this, you're going to use your markers and you're going to color. Now, you don't want to color in the scratched areas. You just want to color on the raised surfaces. Your nice print surface back, and this is the same process where you need your wet paper towel, again wet, not dripping, and I'm hoping this time I can get my surface completely wet so that I am able to get the whole print plate area. So in order to do that, I'm just going to kind of go a little bit, just make sure it's really wet, and I can see it shining, so that's a good sign. Okay, so now that I have it wet, I'm going to go ahead and turn my picture upside down, my plate upside down. Okay, let's see. Oh, that turned out better than I'd hoped. Okay, and that is all of our prints.